intergenerational relationships have problems. Because it's like somebody speaking Luya, another one speaking Kampa, and they want to talk to one another. That the young people generally have no idea about old people. Then you have a problem. Old people don't know anything about young people. The other day, a young person told me, Mr. Nanga, are you aware you are a digital immigrant? I said, what do you mean? Because by the age of 40 something, you knew nothing about mobiles and digital things. Then in your 40s, 50s, you are learning. So you are coming to a digital world. So I asked them, what about you? I'm a digital citizen. So we are talking to people. One is a digital citizen, the other one is a digital. Are you then worried why you have those differences? So you need to understand that if you don't manage it, three things are likely to happen. Number one, because you are assuming they should understand, you get very annoyed with the young or with the old. Some of you could have been sorted out very easy if you knew you don't know. There's a Kikuyu song that talks about if you don't know and you don't know, it's a very bad thing. It's okay not to know, but it's not okay not to know you don't know. And many of the young people do not know that they don't know about old people. Let me just tell you something. I'm not going to against the young people. In 1978, we were young people out of university, and a young man who was getting married told me to be the speaker in his wedding. And I thought, why not? I got married in 79, so I'm 44 years married. So I was not even married, but because I was the chairman of the University Christian Union in 1975, and at our time we were not asked which university, I was on the one. So the young people who were in the university knew me as somebody who can speak. And I had no difficulty. I went and told them about marriage, and I don't have even one. Later, when I got married, I wondered, where did I get the audacity to go to speak to married people about marriage, and I'm not yet? That is the foolishness of youth. Am I communicating? They don't know, and they don't know they don't. The same thing with old people. Since you have gone through, you came from being a junior person, now you are senior, you are even in the board, you assume you know the journey. What you forget is that the clerk of today is not like the clerk of 1970s. You are both called clerks, but they're totally different. The clerk of today is relying on digital world, am I right? This will agree with me. The calculator we used to have is one way to ka. Yes, those are the things in the 1970s. That's when you are now given by your company calculator. You used to go, and then you put it to add. Now then they brought electronic ones, still around late 70s. Before we can go on and on. So here you are making an assumption that the young person is going through what you went through. So you have difficulty communicating because you think the guy is being rude. So I thought today, but I said three things. Maybe I say the third one if I finish. What goes wrong because of that lack of knowledge between people? The third one is more serious. Because we are not communicating language, you leave your employment and your board, and you have not yet passed on your skills to the lower people. You think you did, but the language you used, they never got it. So you are going, like our problem in Africa, we're discussing with Professor Gala about it. Our problem in Africa is we don't record things. So every generation is rediscovering the wheel. You know rediscovering the wheel? Eureka! I've seen the wheel. Yeah, in that 3,000 years ago, they were still using wheels. Because you don't record. You can imagine if your tribe was to keep a record, the kind of skills they had in the previous century, but they never wrote. So therefore, every generation has to rediscover. And unfortunately, if we do not start communicating between generations, you condemn the coming generation to rediscover the wheel. And in the process, other people are keeping going on You are still rediscovering the wheel, which is the problem of Africa. But that's not my topic today. So when you don't record, that happens. We were discussing with Professor Kara about his complicated and impressive history in his background. And I was trying to encourage him, since he's saying it so easily, to put it in writing. Do you know what you have gone through if you are 60 years? It things the young people have no idea. If only you wrote your biography, your grandchildren will not rediscover the wheel. Hiya, you mean you can't do this? And this, then I must improve on it. But now we don't write. And then the young people have stopped being oral. They don't want to listen to our stories. When they come to visit the grandfather, they think he's just a man of stories. And they don't take it seriously. They would rather go to. So because we are not putting it where the young people can get it, we are condemning the next generation to continue rediscovering the wheel. And I'm saying there's nothing wrong with discovering the wheel if you have never found it. But then the process is the other nations will keep leaving you behind. And you're talking about your board of directors and how you are dealing with it.
These are thoughts from the African Leadership Review. Before you are a leader, success is all about growing yourself. When you become a leader, success is all about growing others.
And if you are in the board, your job is not to add figures. Your job is to grow others. No wonder you must have intergenerational relationship, because that's what the responsibility is. One of the things older people do is to think they know. And because they know, they don't study about themselves. This guy is saying, good leaders do not start by leading others. They start by leading themselves. Understanding yourself. Understanding what you don't know. And admitting that you don't know. Not too long ago, when somebody in their 70s said not too long ago, it could be 20 years ago. So don't take me seriously when I say not too long ago. Not too long ago, now you understand the term. I met a young person in Mombasa and I speak in the universities, I give talks to the universities quite a lot for the last over 40 years. Said, do you still go to campus? Yes. I would like to hear your talk. I said, but you are not in the university anymore. Said, I want to make a website for you so that whatever you give in the university, place it there and you're also going to get the information. I said, no, I just retired. And you know, in our time you were retiring at 55. So you retire small boys. But because you are told you are old, you start believing you are old. So at 55, I thought I was old. Now I realize how old a boy I was.
Age is just a number.
Yes. But the number we were taught is 55 means you are dying. Now, so and you start believing it. You think you don't, but you start believing it. That's why I'm emphasizing the idea of knowing yourself. So I dismissed the idea. The next time, it's a lady who got involved with somewhere where I was. Says, did you refuse me to make a website for you? There's nothing for you to do. I'll do it myself. All I ask is a few questions. That made me start thinking, there's nothing I'm doing. And this lady is so interested. So the last time she said, I said, okay, send the questions. So she emailed me a number of questions, and I answered them. She made a website in Mombasa. She was a digital lady. And then flew to Nairobi to train me. In other words, mentoring is not one directional. It is a young person who is at that, in their 20s, my 60s, whatever. They are the ones flying to Nairobi to teach me, after I give the talk, how to upload it. And she said, when you upload it, automatically, it will go to all the people that are subscribed. I said, how? Don't worry how, just upload it. But you don't want to hear me. I said, I'm gathering a lot of my friends who are with me in the university. Within no time, 50 people. Today, my message every Monday goes to more than 3,000 people all over the world. Because you see, you are not in control of subscribe. People just go there to my website and subscribe. And if they're interested in the talk, they read, and then if they're interested, they give. I have no idea. I just see names. All because I admitted I did not understand, knowing myself. And I admitted this small girl, not married, knows something I don't? No.
She was not married.
I know where you are going. I'm not about to go there. It's somebody younger than my daughter. She's younger than my daughter. So, and only misbehaving old men relate with the people below their daughters. They are few, but we call them people of no value. Wazers who date small girls are people of no value. Because instead of helping them, they are destroying them. Yeah. We have come to this meeting to talk about how old people can invest in young people. And that one is one of the ways of destroying them. So we are not going that route. So, I'm just giving you my own examples. Again, many years later, I bumped into a young man. He says, Nganga, why are you not in YouTube? So I asked him, you what? Now, of course, everybody knows YouTube. But that time I didn't know what it is. You what? When he realized I have no idea, he said, do you have any recording you have? I said, yes. Just email it to me. I will make a YouTube account for you. Today, if you go to my YouTube account, and both my website and my YouTube account go by my name. Yes. The website is www.johnganga.org. And my YouTube account is my name, John N. Nganga. You will find more than 400 talks on all kinds of subjects, because the young man was willing to mentor me. I don't enough examples to show you. The first thing you must do is know yourself. And you know yourself when you know what you don't know, and who can help you. And then you allow them to help you, even if they are younger than your daughter's age. Because what we're after is to have a more valuable old life, a more impactful old life. And you'll get it if only you start listening to young people. That's very important for you to get. I will look at the issue of diversity, then I'll look at a bit of definition of generation, what generation is. And I'll look at various generation levels. I'll not spend too much time on it. And then I'll try to spend a bit of time on why generational gap. How come we don't communicate to one another? And then how to close those generational gaps. And why old generation should mentor young ones. Then I'll talk about a bit of, if I get time, I'll talk about the importance of coaching, especially feed forward as a method of coaching somebody who does not know what you want them to know. Just look at that. Is there somebody with a mic? Another mic, or is on the one?
No, there are two.
Let me read this one, but I'm going to involve everybody. Oh, you have found it. You give it to anybody of your choice. Just now. If it is working. You think Mzee can read there? I skipped it because it's
6. I can read.
Good. Well done. Go ahead. Read what it
Face of management should be the face of the market.
Why diversity? In other words, you are answering the question, why should you allow diversity? And now you understand diversity involves old people mixing with young ones. Okay.
The second one, that way your sales will rise. So inability to appreciate diversity will mean you cannot rise in your career.
I'm saying, if you are bold, you are probably below 35. And yet, the people consuming the product of the board, many of them are below 35. You know, they say Kenya is a young nation, isn't it? Your productivity, your sales will go down. Because the best board is a board that reflects the market. Okay, see my point? So you cannot be a gang of old people designing strategies to sell to young people, unless you're not clever. So that's what we are discussing this afternoon. It's not something good to have. It's something you must. Just before I retired from Shell, we were given the top management was promised a bonus. If by a certain year, we are going to have had, I think, 1/3 of top management being women. Because the oil industry, generally speaking, did not attract women. But they had discovered in London that if your management does not reflect your market, you do not sell as well. And that's a very important thing. So we had to very quickly find a way of manufacturing the young women. You know, you notice a young one, you start pushing her up. Otherwise, you will miss your bonus. So it's important to understand. And they discovered in London. Of course, Shell is one of the biggest global companies, or was, I don't know about now. One of the top two oil companies was ExxonMobil and Shell. They used to be one on top, then the other one. They are the top. And they discovered that most of the global board was made up what they called Oxbridge. What's Oxbridge? People from Oxford and Cambridge. Somehow it formed a club. So whenever people are promoted, they are all either from Oxford or Cambridge. But the market, those used to be the main universities then. Now the universities are many. So the market is full of other people. And the old boys club are pulling the business away from Oxbridge. Okay, that's the point. So they had to find a systematic way of ensuring diversity. That their top management is global in nature and not tied up to Oxbridge. So you need to understand as we are talking about this subject, it is not a nice to have subject. It's something you need to force as a principle, as a policy in your board. That a certain percentage of your board must be women, a certain percentage must be youth. And the old people must have the job of passing on the information on their way out. The only thing I'm hoping is that most boards will have something called board of reference. What's board of reference? Wazees who stay in Kedube, but when you really need an issue, there is a telephone call. Am I communicating?
Yeah.
In other words, they are not in the structure of the organization, but you know they have gone through this. So before you make a major change in direction, since the people who made the original process are still alive, you just buy them a cup of coffee. If you can't go to Kedube, call them to Kisumu as long as you pay the fare. And you have a time to talk to them. Board of reference. In other words, they may 3 years, you may not talk to them. But whenever you are making a major direction, find out. I know that because I used to be in the leadership of a church called Sitam. And when one of the CEOs, let's call them CEOs, they are called bishops, let's call them CEOs, was busy running the central church, which is called Barry Road, and yet running all the other churches. And I was in there, I was the secretary to the council, and I told them it can't work. You cannot be here in a board, in a council meeting, hearing things at the same time we are hearing. You need somebody who has gone around, so when we come, you have information. So how is that going to work? Surrender, Barry Road. Remove. Hey, but the pastor to have no chance. Feels threatened, isn't it? But the council decided he is not allowed to be a pastor if he has already taken supervision, because you won't have time. That's why you find in the Anglican church, their top church is All Saints, but they have a provost. So the bishop is not the pastor of All Saints, because he's moving around. Are we together? And as soon as you removed him, he was able to start moving around. All I'm saying is, if you really want this intergenerational thing to work, let people retire. Don't allow people who can't stand to still be in the board. Let them retire. But find a systematic way of ensuring information is taken. Several years later, I'm already retired, and that particular CEO was retired. Several years later, I heard that the CEO had again become the pastor of Arrow. I said, what? Oh, we are lacking pastors. I said, let's be clear. It's not something difficult to do. It's impossible. The moment you are in charge of a church that seats maybe about 10,000 people on a Sunday, there's enough work for you never to go to other churches. Are we together? So you'll be pretending you are the person in charge, but the junior pastors will be running the show without you. Okay, getting my point? So admit it. So all of that is because they do not know. When they sat down to decide, they never rang us. Who made the decision in the first place? And so we need to understand this intergenerational thing means even those who have left the board find a way of keeping their record. Where are they? Are they dead or alive? Don't call a dead one. So ensure you have the information. Then tell them, we are intending to change direction, but we still want to understand why you made this particular decision. That's what diversity will do for you, and will be important. So a good working place is a place where diversity is recognized. You agree clearly, these are women, these are young people, but you still have old people, because all of them are important. They are also recognized and respected, and various cultural ideas are acknowledged and valued. In other words, we agree young people like to stand, allow them to stand. Old people like to sit, allow them to sit. Contribution from all groups are encouraged. Anybody is empowered to achieve their full potential, and differences are celebrated and not suppressed. That's really what you're talking about if you are going to have international things. Why this cause of diversity? Gender differences. That's why we need women. If you want to hear the voice of women, you must have women in your organization. Ethnicity, it's very clear. If you have not Turkana, those are difficult to get because it's a very small population. If you have not Turkana in your board, where is it?
Speaker
over there. If you have not Turkana in your board, you start imagining Turkana are not educated. Am I right? Only to discover professor. But you need to find diversity. Anyway, age difference, cultural difference, like I could go on. What are the generation? A generation is a group of people born around the same time. The second point is more important, and raised around the same time. People in this birth cohort exhibit similar characteristics, preference, etc. Please note, that's where we are going totally wrong. We are using American labels and putting them in Kenya. But to be a generation together is not enough to have been born at the same time. You also must have been brought up in the same place. So for example, when you say Generation X, and you copy paste what they say in America, it might surprise you our boys are not like that. And there's nothing wrong with them. They simply did not grow with the same circumstance. So the fact that we are the same generation, the Americans and the Kenyans, we need studies to show us how various generations work in Kenya and not start applying the American labels. Unfortunately, as I was searching, I didn't see any study so far done. We are all relying on American labels. But a generation, when you talk about generation, it's not about the years. It's people born in the same place, with the same history, who can remember Koko and Kokogonza. Can you remember that? Yeah. Koko and Kokogonza was the colonial book we were doing for Alani English. And he was supposed to come from Uganda, came all the way, he ended up in Dar es Salaam. So that way the English, we are learning English, but he also learning the geography of East Africa. Now, if you are not over 60, do you know who Kokogonza is? No. So he's my age mate.
I know Kokogonza.
Yeah, because we can talk the same language. So when you talk a generation, it's not enough you are the same age. So you can even go to details. People born in the village. I come from a village called Jabini, and that's where I grew up. And the ones who grew up in Botera, in Nairobi, surely they are the same age, but they don't have the same history. So you need to understand, as we are talking about generations, don't apply labels. In fact, my argument is, whenever you give a general statement, it's always wrong by definition. You can say, my wife doesn't know how to cook ugali. But if one day she could cook ugali, is your statement still right? No. Oh, women are like this. But if there is one woman different, is your statement right? Yeah, when I was doing my master's, the one thing I came up with was to be told to avoid motherhood statements. statements that are generally true, but not fully true. All you need is to say, some women don't like men. Now that I can prove, isn't it? But to say women don't like men, what about that one? Mine, the one I've been married 24 years. And however my wickedness, she still wants to be with me until we die. So your statement will be wrong, isn't it? So it's important to be aware. So these generational issues, you have to be aware that you can end up condemning your young people in a certain way because you are not bothering to create subgroups. The term intergenerational, we have to define generational. Intergenerational relationship refers to any type of relationship between individuals and groups of different generations. This is the most correct meaning. Now, my guess is you already know this, so I'll not spend time on it. Intergenerational relationship. But the interesting thing is, even when I was a teenager, we used to talk about generational gap. And I was a teenager, 1960s. By the time I went to university, I did not have to sign. At time, the age was 21, if you remember. You got to ID at the age of 21. And by the time I entered university, I was already over 21. Now, so you can guess my generation. But we still talk about age gap. But me, I thought the reason for the age gap was because our parents were not educated, and we were educated until I myself got teenagers. And we started misunderstanding each other. Like I still remember one of my daughters playing music. And we are a Christian family. And I thought she's playing funny music. I said, how can you play such music with my equipment? Of course, that means I'm losing my temper. I said, Papa, I am playing Christian music. I said, Christian how? I said, just be patient. Let me play. She will play one sentence, stop. And then the words, she says the words. You know they are speaking English. I can't understand. I'm sure you went through the same thing. You have no idea what they are actually saying. Obviously, it doesn't mean anything to me. But now she was able to show me it was a Christian song in English, but I didn't have to be taught the English. So you can condemn somebody just because you yourself don't understand. And I think to be important that we go through that. Now,
these are people born between 1901 to 1927. We have the silent generation, people born between 1928 to 1945. The baby boomer generation, people born between 1946 and 1964. Generation X, they were born between 1965 and 1980. Generation Y, the millennials, were born between 1981 to 1996. We have Generation Z, people born between 1996 to 2012. Generation Alpha, these are the people born between 2013 and 2020.
And they are still being born. That's why it goes into the future. It goes into the future. We haven't reached there yet. They are still being born. Now, I'm okay with that listing, but I'm not okay with this. Continue reading.
Veterans, born between 1922 to 1945. They respect for authority, conformance, discipline.
Those are our fathers, my friend. I don't know that is true in Kenya, but I think talking about my parents, sure they respected authority. No wonder they were colonized. Okay. God
to for baby boomers.
That is my friend and myself.
Yeah. Was born between 1946 to 1964. Optimism and involvement.
I don't know if it is true, but God.
The core values for Generation X, born between 1965 and 1980, skepticism, fun, informality.
These are now our children. I don't know the way we can say that is true. And our children, remember, are here. They better keep quiet. Otherwise, they will say we are not like that. Yeah, they are here. Our children are here. Good God.
Yes, the core value of Generation Y, born between 1981 to 2000, realism, confidence, extreme fun, social.
We don't want to bother with the one that's currently being born because they are not in the marketplace. Would you agree with me? Yeah. Now go to the issue of family.
Family. The veterans, they are traditional and nuclear.
They are traditional and they go for the nuclear family. Okay, go on.
The baby boomers, disintegrating.
That's not a good comment, but go on.
Generation X, latchkey kids.
Okay. You and the mother brought him up. He goes to Australia, never to come back. That generation. Sometimes can be only you are in Nairobi or in Kisumu, they still don't come. Every time you ring them, they send you money. As if it's money. As if it's money you have. For the guy to want me to, it must be my father has run out of what? So he sends you. Am I talking about them? Yes. You are here, you might have to talk for yourself, but that's what we think about you.
Generation Y, merged families.
All of a sudden, there are people coming, a new generation, who are said to be now wanting to recreate what has gone wrong with the past. Now read on. Education.
Veterans are dreaming.
They really dreamt to go to school, but many of them didn't go.
Baby boomers are birthright.
How can I not be educated? What's wrong with you, father? They felt the education is there, birthright.
Generation X, a way to get there.
Yeah, in other words, it's a vehicle to get where they want to go.
Generation Y, an incredible expense.
Yes. Communication.
Communication, media, veterans, rotary, phones, one-on-one.
The ones we are doing like this. Yeah.
One-on-one, write a memo.
I don't understand why our sons are sending money. Instead of, even if you want to give me money, don't embezzle it. Come and give me mondo for mondo. Mondo for mondo. That's our generation. That's a bit true. Yes, go on.
Baby boomers, touch tone phones, call me anytime.
Yes.
Yeah, call me.
They can call you at midnight.
Anybody, yeah, you can call me anytime.
Yeah. Go on.
Generation X, cell phones, call me only at work.
That's terrible. You want to call them anytime. Papa, why are you disturbing me? I came home with a lot of stress, work and stress. But for us, there's no time to tell somebody not to talk to you. Go on.
Generation Y, internet, picture phones, email.
Yeah, they have all of that. Picture phones. Who can explain to you picture phones? Young people tell me what are picture phones. In other words, you don't talk, we look at each other. And it's a phone, isn't it? Now,
Video call. Video call.
yes, a video call. Yes. Now, I remind you, all generations are wrong. There are some old people who behave like X. And there are some X people who behave like boomers. It's not necessarily true in every situation. I think that's important. Finally,
Dealing with money. The veterans put it away, pay cash.
yeah, we are saving for our children. Then they destroy it. But then we go on.
Baby boomers, buy now, pay later.
Yeah.
Yes, you want to enjoy it. Go on.
Generation X, cautious, conservative, save.
Okay, hope that is true, because then they will be very rich. They will have led a very poor life, and leave their children with a very rich life. Save. Go on.
Generation Y, and to spend.
Why do you have to wait? You can borrow any time, isn't it? Yeah, you know now, you don't even need any collateral. You just borrow and spend. I think that's true in Kenya. That is true in Kenya.
Workplace characteristics, the work ethics. Veterans, respect authority, hard work, age equals seniority, company first.
But then that's what I found. You know, they are the people who employed us. When I joined Shell, you knew who is senior by his age. Okay, getting my point? So in fact, the other word for a manager is Mzee. And you know, because we were in that changing generation, I became the manager in the 80s. I became a manager for supplies to Western Kenya and Nyanza province. And my staff, who are older than me, used to call me Mzee. Initially I was insulted, then I realized they don't mean it now. The word Mzee means boss. That happens to be true. You thought every age, things change after that, but initially people were promoted on age. Go on.
Baby boomers, workaholics, desire quality, question authority.
We worked hard. Go on.
Generation X, eliminate the task, self-reliant, want structure and direction, skeptical.
Okay.
Generation Y, what's next? Multitasking, tenacity, entrepreneurial.
Okay. Let's keep, because the notes are being sent to you, so you don't have to go through all of it. I talk about communication.
Communication. For the veteran, it's formal, memo. Baby boomers, in person. Generation X, direct, immediate. Generation Y, email, voicemail.
Okay. And then, what motivates this generation?
The veterans are motivated by being respected. Baby boomers being valued and needed.
You know, this group, even if you don't give him a salary increase, just change his title.
Yeah.
From being called a sweeper, become a sweepology manager. And sweepology manager. Somebody in charge of, and especially give him a card. Yes. No salary increase.
Yeah.
And you go telling the wife, you know, I'm going places. So can we go to Mombasa? Not yet. Anyway, don't try that with you. Okay, video.
Generation X, freedom and removal of rules.
Yeah, they want freedom. You will not work in a place where they feel controlled.
Generation Y, working with other bright people.
Yeah, working in teams to attract them. Then work-life balance is the last item we are reading.
Work-life balance. Veterans, keep them separate.
Yeah. In other words, I have a machine. As soon as I'm in the office, I turn it on. On my way out of the office, I turn it off. No discussion of work, no carrying work home. There was home time and yeah, which is our generation broke. Next.
Baby boomers, no balance, live to work.
Yeah, that's our problem. We did not become like our parents. We started mixing work time and started going home with work. So your son is telling you, Papa, I have a question. Not now. So the mother took over. Now we are complaining that all our money being sent by our children is going to the mother. But we planted it when you are not available to show them homework. Am I communicating? But they ended up boarding with the mother and regarding the father as a stranger. His work was to be a bank. School fees came from father. That's why when the father calls, the reply is M-Pesa. Because they know that's what he's after. He was their bank then. They think the son has also now become a bank for them. Anyway, read on.
Generation X, balance, work to live.
Yeah, they are worse. Go on.
Generation Y, balance, it's 5 p.m. I've got another gig.
Okay, they are having small things they are doing beyond their immediate employment. Am I right?
Yeah.
Yeah, anyway, I would have spent, you have run out of time. All this is about discussing the various generations, talking about these labels. Why the generational gap?
Why the generational gap? One, generational gaps are simply caused by age, and the situation of the world at the time one generation has grown up. For example, the belief and perceptions of those who grew up during World War II may be different from those who grew up in the 1960s. Though to be sure, similarities will remain.
I hope you are getting what you're saying. You think your teenage is like your children, teenage. But because they are growing at a different time, those assumptions are wrong. There are some challenges your children are going through that you yourself never went through. And it's important to understand. And that needing to understand will create a problem between you and your children. Read on.
The technology gap between the older and the younger generations can affect intergenerational relationships.
And I think that I have discussed with God.
Differences in life goals. The younger generation is more vibrant and is willing to take risks. Their life goals and ambitions are quite different from those of the older generation.
So in a word, the younger people don't see what the problem is. Let's go for it. You went for something and it collapsed. Before you can experience a second collapse, you are very careful, right? So as you grow older, you become risk averse. And part of it don't blame us. It's because you are bad our fingers. You remember about it. No one can say, I like to break my leg and I sit up and I can break their legs. So it's important to understand we need both. You need these young people, but they will push you to the limit. You have to give them reason why the board cannot make this decision. But they can't see what the problem is. Why don't fears? They don't happen. 90% of your fears ever come true. They push you. You will be telling them, have you thought of this? Have you thought of this? And you discover that they are not yet thought about it. And the board ends up with a balanced decision making because they have gone to the risk takers and risk averse. And they inside the same board. So that we'll be asking ourselves, why? If you want to read the story, just go to book of Ecclesiastes, chapter 12. And it gives the list of all problems with old people. And you'll see, and I've now gone through them and discover I'm having them. But it's important to understand there is a difference and be careful. That's why you do not want to have any major decision being made without a presentation of women and youth. And you do not want to make a decision without the benefit of age. Did you get that? Because you have not fully analyzed the risk. Because you have not yet got the experience and the exposure. So listen to an old man after he has explained his fear of overrunning. But first of all, listen to him. So that you can take genuine and proper risk analysis. Read on.
In terms of respect or lack of it can greatly impact relationships between older adults and younger generation.
In other words, here it is either way. When the young people think you are overrunning them, not giving them a chance, you are not respecting them. They will withdraw. They will even resign from your board. Am I right? Because they say, why am I doing it? I don't have time to waste. The same thing with old people. If you show them like, surely, you are given, what are you saying? And they feel in the board, they are not getting appreciated. Nobody is listening to them. They will resign from the board. And you'll be the poorer by lacking those old people. So respect for whatever age is one thing that you must be careful. Read on. Differences
in values and lifestyles.
Yeah, what matters to you does not matter to me. I mean, in the same boat, we are in the same family. You can see where the trouble comes. Your son says they are going for a bash. And they say, what bash? Do it here. Now, because in your time, you didn't understand what bash was. Am I communicating? Yes. Yeah, so your values and the values are different. I can tell you one that is affecting me, madam. I have seen young people, when they go for meeting, the boys don't embrace the girls, they squeeze them. Have you seen it? wonder, are these boys normal? Or might there be a biological problem? Because you see, when a boy squeezes the girl and he feels nothing,
The girl also squeezes the boy.
oh, also.
Yeah.
Now, when a girl and a boy squeeze each other, now let me be fair, and they feel nothing, they are potential homosexuals. I did not say they are, I say potential. I was very careful in my word. Because if the boy feels nothing, why marry? Because God created us as men to feel something. So I keep telling young people, if a girl touches you and you feel something, start by saying, hallelujah, but God. Because it means you are biologically normal. So, and because you are normal, next time she comes to embrace you, give her your hand. But if you ignore the fact you're a boy in your 20s or your teens and you are hot, if you ignore that, you are potentially homosexual. And no wonder these things are happening, you're asking why. It's because girls and boys do not seem to have any difference. Yet God creating us, created a boy around 18, 19. Attached about that, not even embracing, just a greeting. Things start happening. That was in our days. Am I right? We need to understand that difference. I haven't understood it yet. Okay, read on. Read on.
Conflict is an inevitable part of intergenerational relationships, which may occur for various reasons, such as differences in values and lifestyles.
Then power.
Power and clout. Most intergenerational conflicts are fundamentally about power or clout. She said,
A woman was interviewed.
a young person who wants more clout wants to be noticed.
Yeah. So it's all of us may have that problem. Especially the older you are, the more you want to be recognized, isn't it? So the minute you think the young people are ignoring you, you'll start having clashes, but they are not content clashes. They are power play. And so if you really want good intergenerational things, respect the young people, let them feel respected. The young people who are here must pretend to respect us, even if you don't. Because if you respect us, it gives us the freedom to talk. Are we together? And you might just benefit. We don't talk nonsense all the time. There are things we have gone through that have helped us to reach where we are. So respect will be something that will be very, very important. I could have gone through others, but just running. So we are emphasizing the issue of communication. We must communicate. And talking is not communicating. I have to understand your language and you understand mine. Then we need to, in order to understand this, we must spend more time together. That means you have to look for time to spend. The reason why I have gotten a lot of advantage is because from the time I left university, I didn't grow old out of it. I'm always talking to the university students. The other day I was speaking in Boy University, and one of the lecturers said, we were in Ghana in college. I looked at him, I couldn't remember him. So I waited until the students were away, and I asked him, which year did you leave campus? He said 83. So I told him it's true, we were in campus together, different sides of the pulpit. Because you see, I had left more than 5 years before him. But because I am always talking in campus, he remembers me in campus. So and it has helped me to remain young. The moment you don't allow yourself, you create a club of ODs and always talking against the youth. You will soon not know their language. And it will be a problem because you will not benefit from the things they know and you don't. Especially when you are academic. You're a digital, my old friend, you are a digital immigrant. But they themselves are digital citizens. So you need them. Just like when you go to a new country, so you need the owners. Yeah. So we have to find a way of dealing with it. So spend more time, create more time. And it means that if you are bored and young people, you need board retreats where people get a time away from serious business to just listen to the young people. That's when they'll discover, here, you mean he was not such a fool. Now, because the older person just assumes he's a fool who knows what does not know what they are talking about. Create opportunities for the older members of the board and the young ones to be together, then show genuine gestures. Young people want to know you are not joking. You are not paying PR or public relations. You actually are interested in what they are saying. And old people too. Share your problems also. Let them know by the time I was your age, I've grown in this way. I keep telling young people, talking to them, help them to make original mistakes without repeating mine. Because once I have told him what mistakes I did, he is not going to repeat them. Are we together? So it's in the interest of the young people to listen to me with my mistakes, because that allows them to avoid my mistakes. And if they must make any mistake, at least they make only original mistakes. And that's why this relationship must be given time. It cannot be just that you have people in the board. You must allow people who can share. Then respecting them can help bridge and act responsibly. Whatever age, you can't claim I'm old and you are running after small girls. Now, it will soon be clear you are not only old, but sport. So it's important that you act responsibly if you want to communicate well. And you'll see the other things, and we have run out of time. Have patience with whoever. Keep up with the current trends. However old you are, I'm on YouTube, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, so originally it was you what. Now I know what it is. And I know it works. The other day I was called by somebody from America. Says, I'm a Kenyan, I live in America. We were calling around 5 a.m. And that's why I called at such a time. Oh, it is too early. I'm sorry, I didn't realize. Oh, and they're talking. I said, do you know me? No, I just saw your name in the internet. And I was able to get your contact. No, I woke up properly because I was still sleeping. And we started talking. That's it. Only because I was mentored by young people. So people from everywhere are able to hear one of my books which I've written. She said, can I donate the book to Kenyans? So she said $, for me to give the books to old people, so the old people can understand what I said. I already passed the loan. So you must keep up with the current. Don't compare yourself with others. Oh, when it was our time, as if that these are not your time. Now, you must give everybody credit. And finding similar interests between the generations. And then fight fair, because sometimes you'll fight, but fight fair. There's a way of fighting that's not fair. You leave people not able to talk again. But you can fight each other, but so respectively that at the end of the fight we are still friends. Am I right?
Yes.
Because there will be disagreement because of the ages. And then be willing to bridge the generation gap. Since you can see it, whoever is better had better do it. So what we are finishing by saying there are 4 R's that are needed for strong intergenerational relationship. The 4 R's: respect, I've talked about that. Reciprocity is not one way, just old people respecting young, or young people respecting old ones. Reciprocity, responsibility, I talked about it, and resiliency, where you can be knocked down and still rise up again. You can be insulted and still rise up again. Don't say, but they insulted me. I'll never go to that boat again. Young people, why did you bring them in? Now find a way of having resilience to rise, like the phoenix, out of the ashes. Then that way they will listen to you. And that's very, very important. And that those things happen. I still remember being in a board, an NGO board, and I was working for Shell. And there are principles that we follow in Shell because we are making money. And then there's something they were deciding. They were so excited about the results. I looked at them and I thought they made no result at all. So I quietly mentioned, can we look at the figures? This is what you got, yes. You spent this much, yes. So you only made this. So is that good or bad? You know what the CEO told me? Director Nanga, you are just wanting to discourage us. Now I thought I have explained myself. But because their mind is, we made this amount of money, but they are not doing the calculation, which of course in Shell we do. You must remove, you don't make money by the revenue you raised. It's the net after paying the expenses. But they have used very expensive ways to get that revenue. So they made hardly any money. But they do not even want to know about it. The fact that I'm making them know I'm an enemy. You know, and I think of course I know the CEO was doing it because there were other members of management. He didn't want to discourage it. When I went home, I asked myself, exactly why am I in that board? If they don't want my principles, why bother? And I was about to resign when I asked myself a question. Why did I join that board? It's because I was in line, it was in line with my mission and vision in life. And that particular NGO is doing something that is good. Did the one who gave me the mission resign? God gave me, that's a God-given mission. Did he tell me to resign? No. The next board meeting I was there. That's what I'm talking about. And you go there, they expected you to be, no, you forget about it and talk and continue talking. If you do not have resiliency, my friend, you'll be an old man full of ideas going nowhere. Because nobody can listen to you. Are we together? They all had you. Therefore, you go to Kedubi and live there. You don't want to, I'm just joking with my friend, he's from Kedubi. You don't want to ever appear anywhere else after that. So I hope I'm clear enough about that. We could talk about 6 dimensions of intergenerational solidarity, association, and we could go on, but I've run out of time. What are benefits of having relationship? Number 1 is a health booster. Studies show that when you stay with young people, you remain young. And you are healthy. And we can spend time on it.
That is true.
It is true. A guy who is only 4 years short of 80 has confirmed it is true. Number 2, building valuable connections. As you are dealing with young people, you know, sometimes I go to a hospital and a doctor is looking at me. Of course, I have no idea who he is. Says, "Are you not Mr. Nga?" "Yes. You spoke to us in medical school." "Oh, I see." And I was so happy about what you say. He's still preaching, but the pain can't be felt. You need to understand that dealing with young people gives you current connections. You know, doctors of our age are already coming out of office, isn't it? So whenever you go to a doctor, it will be your child. By the time you are 70, or almost every doctor will be your child. If you relate with them, you know our connections are out. We had connections, but they all retired. You now need young people as you are connections, and they prove very, very, very useful. Number 3, I've already dealt with that when you relate with the intergenerational, you learn and teach new skills. And then number 4, pass on life lessons and corporate stories. There's something called institutional history, institutional memory. Many organizations don't have. I give you one example, isn't it? Where you start putting someone in a place that was already decided is the wrong place. Because you have lost institutional memory. That's why I'm encouraging you. I'm not suggesting old people you keep them in the board, but find a kind of a board of reference of all chairmen of the last 30 years. Call them for a cup of tea. Tell them what you are doing, what major directions, and you'll be in your use. Embrace aging, and also help to embrace aging. Young people are afraid of growing old. When they realize you are 70 and higher, it says it's okay to be over 70. Now he'll be soon an example of 80. But and you meet a guy who is 80 and is excited, is in a whole conference in Ibacha, my baby, higher. Even me. And I'm only 40. No, I'm going places. And that is important. One of the things I have talked about in intergenerational relationship is what we call reverse mentoring, where older people get mentored by younger ones, and we could spend a lot of time. Old generation must encourage giving feedback for better relations and productivity, and we could go on about the importance of effective feedback. Why old should mentor younger ones? The greatest legacy of great leaders. There is no success without successor. That's why you need to structure your availability. You know, assuming you have a good pension, call all your grandchildren for a party. Then you tell stories about your father. Are we together? But the stories are intended to pass values. Are we together? Yeah, it will cost you a bit of money, but they will enjoy it. It is important for realizing the leader's own vision and potential. Because you began the business. Once you are out, it will collapse. Unless the new people have accepted your Vision. Am I communicating? Yeah, so it's important. Inspiring others to peak performance and keeping high flyers on the team. You know, if they can't see where you are going, they will leave. Attention comes and beyond. As leaders, now I want to answer the question, why do leaders not develop others? How come all people don't want to develop others? As leaders, we know we have a role to share responsibility, but our pride stops us. You know that the first problem is all people can be proud. Because they are proud. They want to protect their pride by ensuring the younger people know absolutely nothing. Another issue is power and the need for it. You want to retain power, therefore you don't want young people to know. Father or mother knows it best. You know, and I know all of us who are managers have gone through that. You are promoted because you knew something. Then you hand it over to somebody who doesn't know it as well as you. What is the usual temptation? To keep replacing you. Ever heard of the story about the chef who was promoted to be the hotel manager? The reason he became a chef is because he was very good at eggs, making omelets. And was making them so well, the whole hotel started attracting people because of his omelets. So even when he became the chief chef, he was still, and if there are many things to cook, he would always go to help the guy making omelets. But all the same, he was able to improve the work in the kitchen. So the next time the board was thinking about promotions, they made him the hotel manager. But even as a hotel manager, he always came through the kitchen to make omelets. People are waiting, suppliers are waiting in his room. Tell them, wait, I'm making omelets. What happened to that hotel? Collapsed. Not communicating. It collapsed. I don't know who I'm talking about here. Where you have been promoted, but you are unable to help the younger person and trust him. Because you see, you never learn how to making mistakes, isn't it? Trust him to allow him to make mistakes, then help him out of it. We could go on. Another one is, I'm too busy. That's why you have no time for young people. The way I'm busy, you could go on. Father or mother knows best, and we have talked about that. And then I talked about feeding forth. I want us to have a discussion time, and I've already talked for 1 hour, so I know my time isn't there. And the importance of feedback, you will read for yourself. I wanted us to have a discussion groups, but we have run out of time. Why do we need this? The coaching, I talked about the importance of coaching, because one method of ensuring we're relating well with the intergenerationally is to use a coaching method, and we can go on. Now you have seen what is on the line, and you can go and read it for yourself. But I wanted to leave enough time, because there are enough older people here and enough young people who challenge each other. Where do we think we have a gap, and how do you think it doesn't have to be in agreement with me? It can improve. You'll get a mic. You have about 20 minutes before 4 to do that. There is something I said and you didn't agree with it. The best time to help others to be corrected is now. There is something I said and you thought it was right on point. If you repeat it in your own words, people will hear it better.
You mentioned about people standing in a bus, young people not standing. The problem we have in Kenya, may I stand, please? Yes. The problem we have in Kenya is that the African community of Kenya have abandoned their culture. They cannot speak their mother tongue. Values were transmitted through language. And unless we get back to the factory settings, we are going to be a lost generation. And that is some of the reasons why you ask, why are people getting shorter? There could be a reason that's not scientific, I'll tell you why. In the old days, when you want to marry a lady, old people used to do some investigations to identify the genealogy. But these days, some undeclared assets can be merging. some people who are close relatives can be marrying each other without knowing, especially in areas where when a lady gets married, anawacha watoto na kuenda, watoto wanahangaika, wanawana huko na ni close relatives. These are where we have gotten lost.
You have answered the question. So we must stop.
We must, and then culture, back to basics. We need to have the first 3 years in school, mother tongue. Why is it that we are stupid as Kenyans that you insist that when you want to do engineering, uwe na A English? Lakini ukienda kufanya engineering China, Chinese don't care how many A's you want to have in Chinese. Wanakufundisha for 6 months, wanakufundisha uwe engineer. But una insist hapa Kenya, atufanye engineering, unahitaji A ya English. Lakini ukienda China, hakuna A ya Chinese. Bora tu ujue ile miti yao inakata namna hii. Unaenda.
You know, young people are starting to wonder how a whole professor can be a Christian. Because by that time, your brain is bigger than God. So why would you have a God? That's what and I know that when I went to Alliance, biology, the people doing biology were arguing about evolution. You know, we are no longer believing in Christianity. We're just irritable students. We are not believing in Christianity because of, until I went to campus and found Professor Kenoti. He was the dean of science. As a Christian, they said, what? And these are the people who came from Makerere in the 60s and then did his PhD in London by the time we are getting independence. And he says, wait a minute. There is not, first of all, evolution is a theory. And after 100 years, it is still theory. Why? Because there are not enough facts to make it a law. The law of gravity was a theory. Within a few short of years, a number of years, the scientists promoted it from being a theory to a law. And he explained to me that the Bible says, a fool has said there is no God. That if you truly are clever, you are clever enough to know what you don't know. And that only God knows. So there will be no age of knowledge you will reach. Because the more you know what you don't know. And that's why you discover a lot of clever people are very religious. You have heard of them, and I can go on to mention many of the scientists were actually born again people, Christians. So it is very important to understand this lack of, which is what he's talking about, lack of cultural background. I grew up saying, you can't do that. God is seeing you. Now your children are told that's a joke. So they grow up doing anything, and as long as the father is not there. But if you are told, even if your parents are not there, God is seeing you. Which is the truth. Because once in a while, your parents will come and without you telling them, they discover what you did. Now that's how we grew up. And that's why we grew up with people who respect others and people who have faith. How are you bringing up your children? Are you bringing them to know the truth? That even at your highest level of knowledge, you know how little you know and how much you need God. Every time they are discovering new telescopes, what are the things that see in the sky called? Telescopes. And the more they get stronger ones, the more planets. The ones that were taught in science in the 1960s, they have now increased. Am I right? And it's all not because they were not existing then. It's because the telescope was not strong enough. So you need any scientist to tell you that a lot of the things they say are also theories. And you are free to accept it or not take it because they are still theories. Thank you very much. I've enjoyed being in the class. Go ahead.